everybody. This is Chef Ken. Welcome to the Kenspiration kitchen. Today we're going to be having some fun with salmon and we're going to roast some green beans, and we're going to make one of my very favorite things, which is going to be a gratin. Whee! A gratin. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with our salmon, which we got at the local market, aka Mariano's for us. So we have a Atlantic salmon, farm raised. Yes, I got the farm raised one because why not? Yep. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to get that roasting for us. As a matter of fact, I'm switching up. I'm actually going to start with the potato gratin because it's going to take a little bit longer. And so here's the fun part about it. I got four different kinds of potatoes. And because we're getting into the holiday season, I want to have a little bit of fun with sweet potatoes. So I have actually several different kinds. One is going to be a purple, one is going to be red, one is going to be a traditional orange, if you will. And then I also have some Yukon Gold potatoes. So this is one of my favorite things to make, a gratin. But this one's going to be a little bit more healthy than the ones that I normally make, because the one I normally make has cream. Oh, I love cream, but cream don't love me so much. So you got to do what you got to do, right? All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to peel our potato. Uh-oh. I make lots of sounds because I always have music playing in my head. I've actually run into people that don't know how to use a peeler. I don't understand how, but this is a horizontal peeler. And so what you're going to do is you're going to aim the peeler and apply a little bit of pressure. It's going to take a thin layer of skin off, just a thin layer. When I was growing up, my parents used a paring knife to get the skin off. You can use that as well if you like. Uh-oh. Maybe I picked up the wrong potatoes because these are all orange. Somebody mislabeled something. But it's cool. Orange is my favorite color, if you couldn't tell. So aren't you going to complain? Nope. Now, for the Yukon Gold potatoes, I don't need to peel those at all. There we go. Excellent. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Yay! So, the difference between sweet potatoes and yams. In an African American household, we have this dish that everybody makes called candied yams, right? And so a yam and a sweet potato are not the same thing. A sweet potato is a hybrid of a carrot and a potato, whereas a yam is naturally occurring, and they come in all different colors. Yams are usually found in Africa. That's where they basically came from, and they got imported to America. And they come in, I've seen them in red, yellow, purple, white. And you'll know you have an actual yam because it's going to be very, very stringy, which is why our ancestors candied them, aka cooked them for a long, long time to make them somewhat palatable. Otherwise, you cook them and mush them down, and there you have it. I'm going to break out my handy dandy Japanese mandolin. So there are different kinds of mandolins. This one just happens to be a Japanese version. You can get the French version, but whatever you do, make sure you watch your fingers, because once you get to slicing, it's not very nice. All right, all right, all right. So make sure we get our thickness where we want it to be. Let's take a look. So that's slightly thicker than I need for it to be, right? Slightly thicker. So I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. I want it to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. That's about it. And I want to get nice, long, even slices out of it. Yep. Can I get to the yams? There we go. So that's what we're looking for. Nice, long, even slices. because that'll make our gratin sit pretty. Do-do-do-do. That's one kind. We're gonna go ahead and do you. You can actually see the starch content. Even as I slice, you can start to see the starch content. If this were a regular potato, it would start to oxidize almost immediately. But because it has a lot more sugar in it, it's not gonna do that so rapidly. There we go. 1 and 2. Uh-oh. So as you can see, this one has a lot more liquid in it. So you got to be very, very careful if you're using a mandolin. So most mandolins that you get, the French ones, are going to have a little guard that you use. I don't have that guard. I just have to watch my fingers. And once you get down to that piece, you know, you don't need to slice your fingers. So that's a wrap on that. All right, all right, all right. Awesome. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to butter my pie pan. So you can use a pie pan, you can use a cake pan, you can use a skillet, you can use a saute pan, you can use whatever you like to put your gratin in. Whatever you use, make sure that you butter at the bottom of it. You can use butter, you can use margarine, you can use oil, you can use canola oil, avocado oil, pickle oil, nobody cares. It's yours. But I like butter. Butter is better. All right, all right, all right. So what we're gonna start doing now is we're gonna start to layer. I'm gonna start to layer my potatoes around. Do-do-do-do-do. And here's a little trick. You can do alternate layers if you like. You don't have to. Man at work. All right, next layer. Now, once you get a full layer down, what you're gonna wanna do is season that layer. I'm gonna put you right in there. So now we got a layer down for the most part. Right? If I were going to add any other thing to it, once I put my seasonings in, then I'm going to put another layer on it. At this point, you can start putting in whatever other fat you would like to use. In my case, it's going to be, guess what? You guessed it. It's going to be some more butter. All right, all right, all right. So I'm just going to heat that up slightly, just to get it melted. Get my salt and pepper in. A little crack of pepper. Excellent. I think I want to put some parsley in because I got it. It ain't tricking if you got it. There you go. We'll save you for later. So if you really want to get fancy with this, you can layer it with cheese as well. So a really good cheese that would go well with this would be a Gruyere or a Parmesan or any kind of hard cheese is going to melt nicely. We had enough? Nope. One more. All right, and now we're gonna go for the gold. All right, see, we can slide another couple few in there. There, that's that. Hit you off with a little bit more parsley. And so we're going to get this in the oven because it's going to take the longest. All right, all right, all right. And I'm going to add a little bit of chicken broth to it. So like I said, this is the healthier version of what I would normally make. All right, and what do you need now? Sounds like you need some salt. All right, pinch. Do-do-do-do-do-do. All right, so this is what our gratin looks like right before it goes in. So after about 15 or so minutes, I'm going to add another little bit more fat onto it. All right, but we can go into the oven right now. Right now my oven is set at 375. Another trick, if you need the process to go along a little bit faster, is you could actually partially cook your potatoes. You could partially cook your potatoes. And another thing you could do is make a single layer, and that'll work perfectly fine. I'm going to make another gratin later with these other potatoes. All right, all right, all right. Let's have some fun. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the water going for our green beans, and then it's salmon time. So because we have to blanch and shock our green beans, we're going to get our water going. Pot filler, way cool. So I'm only going to put enough water in the pot to cover the amount of green beans that I have. Da-da-da-da. Then I'm actually going to salt the water nicely. Nice amount of salt. Excellent. Get that going. All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I don't need you anymore. Green bean preparation. All right, so there's a stem on this end. If you grew up in a household like I did, you used to have to pick these by hand. Well, not by hand anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line all of the stems up, as many as my hand can fit. Line them up, lay them up, and we're going to cut them all off. You got away, but you can't fool me. So there we go with that. Some people take the bottoms off. It's not necessary. We're going to stick with these tops. And the cool thing about blanching your vegetables is you can blanch as many as you like. If you blanch them, you can freeze them. You can't freeze them raw. I don't know if you knew that or not, but now you know. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe, greatest American hero. All right, so take all of our tops off, or as much as you're gonna cook. So if you're doing meal prep for like a whole week, you can cut all your green beans off, or if you want to cook them now and save them for later, you can cut all the tops off and then come back to them later after they're frozen. If you blanch them and you don't freeze them, after you blanch them, we shock them. If you don't freeze them immediately, you have about 3 days. You get about 3 days and before you need to make some adjustments, AKA cook them. Use them or lose them. Make sure I don't have any rogue agents. I think I'll need maybe one more handful. Just line the little soldiers up. You don't look nice. Yep, you either. Sometimes the stems are really tricky and you can't see them. What do you look like? Yep. You don't get to play with us. You're not one of the cool kids. Yep, that's all of them. All right. So what's going to happen is this. I'm going to blanch them, which means I'm going to partially cook them in some salted water. It's going to change the color. It's going to change the texture. It's going to get them ready for me to cook again later. So I'm going to finish them once my salmon is coming out of the oven. So once my water comes to a boil, B-O-I-L, a rolling boil, a full rolling boil, not hot. If I look at it right now, I can start to see the bubbles forming around the outside of the pan. That's not boiling. So we're going to go through the different stages of what the water should look like, because I've had some people who didn't know what boiling water was. And you've heard somebody say, I don't know how to boil water. Well, you're going to learn today, because it makes a difference. Because I cannot put the green beans in the water and bring it up to temperature. I could do that with a root vegetable, but not with the green vegetable, because I'm going to lose all of the nutrients and they're going to turn army green like the little army green men used to play. Wait a minute, y'all didn't play with those little army green men. Okay, I'm telling my age, but whatever. So, we want to make sure we have that situated. So why did I put salt in the water? The salt in the water is going to help change the color and get us a taste that we're looking for. Don't put any acid in the water, because it's going to really change it to an undesirable color. We don't want that green. All right, let's see what our water looks like now. And I really want to go through this. I'm going to put it on the fast burner. All right, so then we're going to walk through the various stages of what that's going to look like. And while that's happening, it's salmon time. Hello, Sammy. So the preparation we're going to use today, I'm going to actually keep the skin on, right? So this is about half of a salmon fillet. Bring me that fillet of fish. Give me that fish. So the other half is going to go slope downward somewhat. So this will be, if the fish are standing up, this will be where the belly was. And then we're going to look at, this is the skin side. And you can always tell on a salmon, the thinnest part is where the belly was. All right. And so I was toying with what kind of preparation we're going to go with today. And so today we're just going to do a simple pan roast. All right. But I'm going to show you a really cool technique. Pin bone. Woo-woo. Bones. Got to be very, very mindful of them. Although this salmon has already been filleted for us, I still want to check and make sure that there are no bones in there hiding, just in case, somebody doesn't know how to deal with a fish bone. So I'm going to cut this about 2 inches thick. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now, here's another cool trick I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. So I'm going to slice it almost down to the skin, and I'm going to butterfly it almost down to the skin level, and then I'm going to open it up like so. So we're going to end up with a preparation that looks like this versus a single slab of filet that looks like that. All right, just for aesthetics, it's not going to change the taste. It's not going to change anything like that. How's my water looking? All right. Yeah, they look like steaks. I think they look more like tennis rackets, but hey. All right, that's that. So now you have, that's what it looks like on the other side. So yes, I could have taken the skin off, but I didn't need to. All right, so if we look at the water now, people, you start to see more bubbles forming around the outside and on the bottom. Right now we're at about poaching liquid. We're about poaching temperature. It's still not technically hot enough. We could put the green beans in, but it's still not hot enough for us to do what we need to get done. All right, all right, all right. Use some of my Mediterranean spices. I'm gonna use some Maltese spices on our salmon. Put some Maltese spices on it, as well as some fresh dill. Some dill, some cracked pepper. And some sea salt. Pat that in real good. Crack some pepper. Now, could you use pepper out of a little can? You absolutely could. But I like cracked because I get the fresher flavor from my salmon, and that's what I like. All right, get my skillet ready, get my skillet nice and hot. I'm gonna season my other side over here. Woohoo! And salt. So once I salt them, I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes. Let them sit for a few minutes so that my spices can absorb into it. And I'm gonna wait for my water to boil. All right, so we're almost at simmer point. So if you're looking in the pot now, we're almost at a simmer. And the different temperatures of the cooking water give us different outcomes. So if I'm going to poach, that means I'm going to cook it for a much longer period of time. Excuse me, I'm going to cook it for a much longer period of time. Those seasons are getting to me. I guess I'm getting seasoned too. So it's going to cook for a much longer period of time. And most often, if I'm going to poach something, I'm going to infuse the liquid with some flavoring agents like some acid and some herbs, and it's going to infuse into whatever it is that I'm cooking. A popular dish that has been poached would be shrimp cocktail. Everybody's had shrimp cocktail. Shrimp cocktail is shrimp that has been poached in a court bouillon, which is basically a very flavorful liquid. All right, all right, all right. Oh yeah, there we go. So now I'm gonna start to see some convection. The water is starting to move. Yeah, it's actually starting to swirl right around the center because that's where the heat is. So I really want you to see what happens with these green beans. All right, and turn that on because I don't want no problems. I don't want no problems. So for my salmon, I'm actually going to use a combination of oil and clarified butter. What is clarified butter, chef? Clarified butter is a little trick we use to infuse flavor and cook with butter, but not burn it and not have it extra smoky and burny and all of that good stuff. So clarified butter is where we take butter and we're going to basically take the milk fats off, the stuff that burns when you immediately put it in the pan. We don't want that. I don't want that smoke either. There we go. We're almost there. Oh boy. Check on my gratin. Excellent. Add some more butter to my gratin. And now I can get ready for my salmon. So when we put the salmon into the pan, we're going to put them in presentation side down, which is going to be this side, not that side. If you don't know what presentation side is, presentation side down means the side you put down the first is going to be the side that's going to look the best, oddly enough. All right, so whichever one you put in the pan first, that is going to be the one that's going to look the best. A lot of times when we're doing this, the side that had the skin will be the side that we finish roasting it on, unless I put some type of scoring the skin and make some type of decoration that way. But because I want you all to see this when it's finally done, that's the side we're going to use for presentation. All right, and then we're going to do a layaway. Layaway. So what does layaway mean is I'm going to lay it away from my face. And I'm also going to lay it so that this little flappy part goes down last and not first. Excellent. And now you're starting to see that my water is at a simmer. So simmering means that I have some movement around the outside and it's starting to convect on the inside, and we're just about at a full boil. Just about, but not quite. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, boil. A boil means a full rolling convection boil. You see all the bubbles coming up and going away? And the water's starting to move around in the pan or in the pot? That's what convection looks like. And that's what a boil looks like. And that's what we want. And in we go. Now they're not going to be in the water very long. Just long enough for them to change colors, and then we can rescue them. I'm going to flip these puppies. One, two, one, two. 1 2 1 2. We're going to get those out. And get my other two in. Now let's take a look at our green beans. Hello, little green guys. How you doing over there? So notice the water's coming back to a boil. That's my cue to get my ice bath ready. So now that my green beans have already transformed and did their transformer color change, now I need to stop them from cooking. And I can turn that off. Break on through to the other side. Move this back so you guys can see it again. There we go. They look nice. You go there. You go now. And you go there. All right. So what's about to happen with this? Get my other handy dandy cutting board. So now what's about to happen is this. I'm about to cut up some herbs and some onions to put over it. Actually, I'm going to use some, I think I might use a shallot. In real life, we drop knives. Just don't let it be your fingers. Get some dill over that. And No, I don't think we need the onion. There we go. So now we have a little bit of dill over that, and they can go into the onion to roast, into the onion, into the oven to roast. All right, all right, all right. I don't need that sticker. All right, and we're almost ready for almost ready to do our green beans. Just gonna julienne some sweet onions. For our green beans, and my green beans have already been shocked. Green beans have already been shocked in my water, and so now I just basically want to get them out of that water because they've stopped cooking, so they don't need to sit in the water. Otherwise, they'll just become waterlogged. I know you say, well, what does waterlogged mean? That means they'll just take on water they don't need to take on. There we go. Nice and firm to the bite. That's what we're looking for. All right. Move this out the way. All right, let's check our gratin. All right, so our gratin is starting to do what we need for it to do. I'm gonna add a little bit more fat to it. A little bit more fat to it because my potatoes have already started to change. There we go. Swirl that around. If this was only sweet potatoes, I would certainly put some sweetness in there. There we go. There we go. Now we can crank that a little bit. All right, so now we can almost get ready for, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna caramelize my onions and my pecans in my pan. I'm gonna use whole butter for this, just because it has more fat, more fat, more fat, more fat, more fat, more what? More fat. More fat equals more flavor. All right, and the next thing I'm gonna do, while that's happening, I'm also going to prepare the top layer for my gratin. Once I get my beans caramelized, once I get my pecans caramelized, and my onions, swirling the butter. If you don't own a garlic press, I suggest you get one. Get your whole life together. Garlic press, real simple. Real simple thing. Don't get your fingers all garlicky, right? So that's what it looks like. You put a clove of garlic in, and then you squeeze it. And there we go. 1 clove of garlic goes into my pan. And also into my pan, I want to put my pecans to roast. pecan. Depends on where your people is from as to what you say. Get back in there. I have that down very, very low because I don't want the nuts to burn. And uh-oh, I don't need that on there. Cut that off. Now I'm using a fresh Parmigiano Reggiano. You don't have to. You can use Gouda. You can use Parmigiano. You can use Asiago for your gratin. I just happen to like this one because it adds a nuttiness and a saltiness, particularly because I didn't add a lot of salt to my gratin. There we go. How we doing, fellas? All right. So what I'm basically gonna do is I'm gonna add this onto the top of my gratin, sprinkle it around the top so that it can melt. And gratin, which basically means change colors. I'm gonna bring that out so you guys can see it. Got a good look? Okay. In we go. All right. Oh, I wish you could scratch and sniff this. Oh, I wish you could smell this. I wish you could smell this. Gonna need a tad bit more butter for those. And then I'm going to finish them off with some maple. Let's check on our salmon. Oh, they're pretty. You so pretty. What's your name? What's your name? Turn it up just a tad bit more, because I really want to see some caramelization happening right here at this point. If it ain't sizzling, you ain't sauteing. All right. It's my favorite time of cooking. Move these handy dandy little Little apparatus is out the way. Let's see what it do. So as you can see now, my gratin is almost about ready. By the time these are done, those will be done. Almost. I just want a little bit more color on it. All right, so I'm gonna hit these off with a little bit of white wine, just for some acid. Now it's safe to add acid in. Excelente. They're going to get one more sprinkle of salt. And just because they need some balance, I'm going to give them some ancho chili pepper. A little bit of pepper. Oh my goodness, I wish you guys could smell this. So now we got a little bit of sweet, a little bit of spicy, a little bit of nutty, a little bit of nicey. My spice smells nice. Check one. Oh, there we go. It's bubbling brown. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, would you look at that? Oh, oh, I think she's ready. All right. We got one. Those about ready. We got two. Those are ready. We got three. What's missing, chef? I don't know. Maybe a sauce. Maybe a sauce. All right, we got a sauce. Let's make something real quick. It'll be done by the time that's done sizzling. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I feel like I need to make some type of citrusy sauce. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead with a little bit of butter in my pot. A little bit of butter and lemon. Get some lemon zest in there. Some Chardonnay. Excellent. Woo. Sorry. Some dill sprigs. A little bit of salt. It's gonna be more like a nage. All right, all right, all right. Plating time. Woohoo! How we doing? All right. Excelente. Yep, my potatoes are done. So I could have laid this gratin all the way up to the top. It would have taken way longer to cook. There we go. Sauce is happy. You just need some white pepper. Pepper! There we go. This is going to go over our fish very nicely. Now I'm going to lay my fish down, lay it down, lay it down. Get some of those green beans on the plate. Get back in there. No escaping. And this is actually how I cook and eat at home. And a little bit of my sauce goes right on top. And there we have it. I feel like you could use some more of these. Get some of those onions in there. Nicely caramelized onions. Because I know somebody that really, really likes onions. It's the baby doll. Get this plate wiped off. And there we have it. Uh-oh. Gotta wipe you too, buddy. And there you have it. You just got more sauce.